as well. Now, I want to introduce a couple of people. One, we know affectionately, because we see her on the 5 every day. Andrea Tantaris is here. She's the co-host of the 5 and has been a Fox News contributor for a minute, as we say, in my family in the South, and we love that. And then one of my other favorite people is Judith Miller. She helps us make sense of these things. She's a Fox News correspondent, or excuse me, contributor, but was a correspondent, a journalist for many, many years on these types of stories. And she can break it down like no one can. So here's my first question. Welcome to both of you. Here's my first question for you, Judith, because I'm really trying to get my mind around the importance of this. This is so different. When we took out Osama bin Laden, we had people in Pakistan who were very angry at us. We certainly didn't have the leader of Pakistan calling and saying, hey, we got, you got him, America got him, blah, 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 blah. How different is our relationship with the government in Yemen and the government in Pakistan?
Well, first of all, Yemen is now where the action has been on Al-Qaeda. As Catherine Herridge reported, as others here at Fox have pointed out, Al-Qaeda Corps, what they call that main group that Osama bin Laden headed, they're under so much pressure in Pakistan that they cannot act. We have killed 1,600 militants with drones in Pakistan. And now there is a parallel drone program in Yemen. But that country has a very different relationship with the United States in that the president of that country was under political pressure all along. In fact, he's hanging on to his job by a thread. And he always insisted that Yemen had to be the country that conducted these operations. And so the United States and Yemen engaged in this little play. They said, we'll give you the drones and we'll operate the drones, we'll do the killing, but you'll get the credit. And that's what's happened here. Ali Abdullah Saleh, the president of Yemen, returns from Saudi Arabia, and lo and behold, the man is dead.
Interesting,
is
right?
gone.
Because he had gone to get, and we should bring everybody up to speed because this is important. They've been trying to kill him.
They've been trying to kill him.
They hit his palace mosque and he was injured.
Succeeded.
Went to Saudi Arabia for medical treatment?
Yes, and also to see if he could possibly maneuver a way to figure out how to stay in power.
More than just a doctor's visit.
Well, it was definitely, he needed the doctor's visit. His face was badly, badly burned. But the terrible truth about a country like Yemen is there is no one else to kind of hold things together. And what Ali Abdullah Saleh is now trying to do is to figure out, one, if he can stay, which probably is not going to happen, but two, whether or not he can help arrange an orderly transition to someone he knows and trusts that will perpetuate, if not his son's rule.
Who wants him out?
Well, you know, the people of Yemen really want him out.
But he's not a dictator, right?
No, he's an authoritarian figure, but he has held the country together. It's very tribal. What we don't want is a Yemen in anarchy, a Yemen in chaos, because then you get an Afghanistan pre-9/11 situation where anyone can operate and train there. That's how Anwar al-Awlaki was able to stay alive. He was able to stay alive because Yemen was such a mess. He could go to his
cover in confusion, as they say,
and you've got to remember
field in the military.
Who al-Awlaki is. Al-Awlaki was one of the most connected Yemenis in the country. His father was an advisor to the Prime Minister. His father was Minister of Agriculture when I met his father way back when. He was an esteemed university professor. This family is connected tribally, politically.
And
so
he's the future, really. I mean, the way that he used the internet.
Right.
He was the future. I don't know if they've actually confirmed, but yes, he was the future. And I believe it was reported that Major Hassan, the Fort Hood shooter, communicated with him, as well as Jared Lautner was inspired by him. So
he had tentacles and a whole lot of things. Plus, he had a tremendous amount of connections here because he was born here in the United States.
He was born here, and he was the head of 2 mosques that just happened to be connected to 3 of the 9/11 hijackers.
One of the reasons I don't believe in coincidence. Okay, I want to bring in David Mercer as well. He is our Democratic strategist for the next hour or so. Prior to forming Mercer and Associates, he was the Deputy National Finance Director for the Democratic National Committee and served on the DNC's 96 Convention Finance panel as its director. Good morning, David. Good to see you.
Good morning. Good being with all 3 of you.
All right. So in about on the schedule, an hour and 45 minutes, we'll hear from the president on something completely unrelated, because he's been traveling across the country, mostly in the Midwest, touting his jobs plan. But there's a good possibility that he may make a statement about what's happened. What might the president say? And he's not just speaking to us. He's talking to the whole Arab world.
Globally. I would suspect his audience would be, or will be, and I don't think you're going to see a lot of fanfare. I think you'll hear the facts, and you'll get a tone and a sense of what has always been the case, a sense of purpose, very deliberate mindset, and focused on minimizing the threat that rose up against us 10 years ago. And that, I think, is what we will hear from the president. And again, not touting it, but just showing and letting the results show his commitment, the U.S.'s commitment, that there will be no quarter for those that are threatening our security.
You know, it's interesting. Many people may not be able to spit out the word Anwar al-Awlaki. But of course, Osama bin Laden is something that is easy as Mickey Mouse. Not a coincidence that I chose that. But they're almost equal right now in the sense of their importance. Before I let you go, Judy, Judith rather, can I call you
okay,
Judy?
No, Judy is fine.
Can I call you Big J? How important is it compared with Osama bin Laden? I mean, this is a big get. Does the president come out in front of the story and own this?
The amazing thing about this is that this is the second big win for President Obama. President Obama has no problem killing, as we've seen. Let us remember something.
Well, he didn't actually do the killing.
But the drone program is really astounding rather than capture, right? He's just
eliminating is a better word.
Yeah, no.
So I like killing.
Let's use killing. And he has doubled the number of drone attacks in Afghanistan.
What does that tell you about this president politically?
It tells me that he is a man who understood all along that he was vulnerable as a liberal Democrat to charges that he would be weak on national security. And he had decided from the beginning that no one was going to ever be able to make that charge. And Anwar al-Awlaki, in my view, is a bigger win for him than Osama bin Laden, because Anwar al-Awlaki was not only exactly harder to get, operationally key. Osama bin Laden was an old man sitting in a compound, unable to communicate, of the old great days, right?
Of leaders in the United States who are female,
whereas
reportedly.
This guy was inspiring young people all over the world, and especially here. So he was an inspirer as well as an operational leader. He was someone who knew us all too well. This was one dangerous guy who had to be targeted and taken out. But for an American president to say, I am going to target an American citizen without a trial, without anything,
about this,
exactly, was a very bold move, an assertive move by this president, and he deserves credit for it.
All right, now the channel is clamoring for you, and I have to let you go. Star that you are, Judith Miller, stopping by to spread her experience experience and perspective, and we greatly appreciate it.
I'm delighted to be here with my fellow professionals.
We'll understand so much more about how the drone system works too, and that will be interesting. I don't know how many secrets they're going to give away. I don't know how safe it is for us to know too much.
The most important thing to remember is that the drone only attacks what the intelligence tells it to shoot. So
Intel has to be excellent, which speaks to that relationship between the leader Salah in Yemen and how really tenuous things could get if he's ousted. Very interesting. Come back and visit when you can.
Whenever. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, House.
Okay, let's talk about the politics of it all. David and Andrea, I want to bring you guys in on this. So the president, I mean, you heard Judith just saying then this is a huge get for him. How do Republicans feel about this president when it comes to the military right now?
Well, I think that that's one area that Republicans and Democrats at least agree. I know that the president has been facing a lot of criticism from some Republicans that say that because he's implored this very aggressive drone strike, when you kill them, as Judy said, that intelligence isn't there. Right? You wipe them off, you obliterate them. So you're not exactly pulling them in.
You don't have a lair to go to like with Osama bin Laden and go through his closets and everything else.
Exactly. So you notice it's not that interrogation program that was very politically controversial under George Bush. And I do think it is noteworthy that the president has gone from his initial stance in 2008, which was closing Gitmo. He was criticized for being soft on terror, to kill teams in Pakistan, as Judy says, exponentially expanding the drone program, working with the Yemeni government, which, to his credit, has proved fruitful. So I think this is going to be a tough one. But again, you know, the real issue, and I think David would agree with me, is there are Republicans who say, well, we're not getting the intelligence. We're not getting the intelligence that we had before. But to Judy's point, it looks like that intelligence, through working with leaders, is working on some level.
It's happening.
And it's an astounding evolution, Harris, to have a president go from military trials, civilian trials.
And I'm closing Guantanamo Bay.
And I'm closing Guantanamo Bay to kill teams in Pakistan.
Go after an American citizen, take him out.
Yes.
Yeah, that's okay. We're going to lose David Mercer off the satellite. David, I want to get a last comment from you. The president now has taken out the second real big name in al-Qaeda, as you heard Judith Miller saying. You've been hearing Andrea almost tout his praises. I don't want to oversell it, but you like what he's doing. Republicans like what he's doing in this end. But the president has so many problems at home. How much does he push this today?
Well, it's not a matter of pushing it, but I think, again, you know, him letting the results speak for themselves. He's not somebody that, you know, beats his chest on a victory like this, which is not only his victory, but that for the U.S. And I think you see the same with regard to domestic policy, and that is he will stick like a laser on the priorities in moving this country forward, eliminating threats, and directing a clear path, be that foreign policy or national security, or be it economic policy, and getting us back on track.
All right. Does this sort of thing help his approval rating, do you think?
I think he gets a boost from it. I would think and hope that in everybody coming around with our pride and our patriotism in being united, both in managing the intelligence that we are now improving upon, that we can do the same thing on the domestic front and the battlefield that we got there. And I think that's what you see as a unity of purpose with all of the resources and entities that were involved in this and in Osama bin Laden's I hate the word killing, but in his elimination.
I know you do. I hear the Democrats saying they don't want to hear that he ordered this hit on an American citizen, well,
or anybody. I mean,
yeah. I mean, he's elimination. Elimination, whatever kind of words you want to use for it. I'm curious, though, did Democrats even speak on that issue today? Because it works. It worked.
It does work.
All right, David Mercer, we're going to lose you off the satellite bird, and I hate that if I don't get to give you
well, both of you have a good weekend, and I look forward to next week.
All right, me too. Thanks so much.
Take care.
Joining us now